Hi, you've asked for it. Here it is. This is a Lenovo ThinkPad T15 Generation 2. So for those of you who were asking for this particular model, for those of you who are asking for Windows 11 compatible laptops you can get right now, this is the one to get, or one of them that you can get, of course. So let's go ahead and start with an unboxing. This unit is 3.86 pounds, so it's very light. I don't know about with the whole box and everything else how much it is, but it's relatively light. So let's go ahead and take a look. So this is a 15.6 inch laptop, and being a Lenovo, I think if you've seen any of my other videos, you will notice the packaging is very similar throughout. It's basically well padded with foam. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this here. And the only other thing in the box apart from the laptop is, of course, the power adapter, which looks like this. And the power adapter uses the very familiar USB-C on the end. And it is a, let's see if it's written, it's a 65 watt for those of you that are interested. So let's go ahead and put that aside. I feel like the Swedish chef. By the way, if you enjoy these videos, give us a thumbs up. And of course, consider subscribing. That really helps us out. And we really love you for it. So there's a bit of documentation. It's, look, 3-4 pages. It's basically security and don't put your baby inside of the plastic or they'll suffocate type of thing. So I think we can all agree that that's not terribly useful. And let's go ahead and take this out of here. So first thing you'll notice is it's the typical black in color. There's a security seal on there, so you can always tell if it's been tampered with. And here we are. Now, it like I said, it is relatively light. And what's really nice as opposed to Apple products is they have a lot of ports on both sides. So let's take a quick look at the construction itself. So it feels very, I guess, slightly rubberized. I mean, this is relatively durable over time. That's one of the things I do like about the Lenovos. Previously, you know, they were IBMs a long time ago, and they were known for their durability. I know people that use them for a long time, way longer than they should have, because this is technology and it evolves. So you probably want to stay up to date for security reasons to start with. So as I said, let's take a quick look. So let's look on one side. You've got the typical ports where you've got an actual network port there, so you can plug in gigabit. And of course, you've got a USB on this side. The backs, well, you've got a metal hinge. So I always like that about those. I've seen some cheaper brands that will have plastic hinges, and the problem longer term, especially if you're out, for example, you work out of your car and you're in and out, and you open them when it's cold and then it's hot, and they will break. So these actually tend to last much longer. I haven't actually seen Lenovo's, the hinges break. Of course, I don't see thousands of these, so give us your experience below in the comments. We appreciate seeing those. So on the other side, you'll find is typical USB-C, and let's see what else we've got. We've got some USBs, you've got HDMI, you've got a headset port, and you've got a micro SD. Now, when you purchase these, you get a choice of different components. So you have to pay close attention. The reason I'm saying this is what you select may be difficult to change. What do I mean? Well, first off, you've got the screen. There's various screens available in here that you can get, and if you select one, want to change to another, it's not an easy thing to change. Of course, you could bring it in to someone who's specialized. They can take it apart, and they can probably advise you as just to how simple or how hard that is. I don't actually go into the guts of this very often. I deal mainly with servers. But so the optional ones are the 1920 by 1080, and that's a 300 nit screen. And if you want to have a brighter screen at that point, you would go to the 3840 by 2160. Apart from that, the processor itself, of course, you've got more than one choice, of course, and that will be what drives really the speed of this unit. And you can go from an i5, for example, all the way to an i7. This is an 11th generation processor laptop, so it does give you the latest and greatest. And what you're looking at is an i5. They've got the 1135 G7 all the way to the i7, which is the 1185 G7. So you've got 2.4 gigahertz on the i5, and you can go all the way to 3 gigahertz. They're both of them, or actually I think there's 4 different processors you can get in here. They're all 4-core processors, and of course, if you're doing virtualization or any of those things with the Hyperthread, you will see virtually 8 processors. The other thing is the memory. The memory in these is soldered, meaning that if you order it with 8, you're going to have a tough time upgrading it to 16. So it comes in 8 or 16. I would strongly advise, if you're going to be keeping this for a period of time, try to go for the 16. They'll probably force you, I apologize for the strong word there, but you're probably going to have to max it out from a memory point of view with a higher end processor. So sometimes they'll say, okay, if you choose an i7, it comes with a 16, and if you pick an i5, it comes with 8. So it may force you to take some components that maybe are a little overkill for you. However, again, it depends on durability and how long you want to keep it, or longevity, I should say. So it's up to you. If you're changing these every 3 years for various reasons, or if you can expense them on your company, and you've got a 3-year cycle, for example, well, at that point you might want to get something like an i5, which will be powerful enough, and then you keep switching them out. That's one way to do it. Of course, these things are relatively hard to find. When I tried to find one to review, there was literally 1 or 2 in different places, and I had to just to wait a little bit and get one. The other thing on here is the drive. Of course, when you want to pick it, you've got on the lower end, you've got the 256, and on the higher end, you've got the 1 terabyte. Right now, I'm recommending about 512. Seems to be a nice place, depending, of course, on what you're doing. If you're doing a lot of video, if you're doing, actually, it's not the best for video edition, of course, being a laptop. But I'm just saying, if you're doing things that have used up a lot of space, you might want to go for the 1 terabyte. These are all PCIe SSDs or NVMe drives, so you will get decent speed out of them, and so it will make the whole unit relatively responsive. Apart from that, this one here actually came with Windows 10 Pro, just because Windows 11 is relatively new, and so what's in the in distribution and so forth all have Windows 10. However, it does have the TPM 2, which is required basically to put Windows 11 on here. So you'll be able to get into Windows 10 if that's what you got, and upgrade it to Windows 11. Some of these, I'm sure if you look up the proper SKUs, will have Windows 11 available for you right out of the box. If you have that option, you can find one. That's the way to go. The other thing is thinking that this battery as well, which is a 57 watt hour. They rated at 12 hours. I haven't really played with this one, so I can't really tell you how long it will last, but again, it all depends on what you're doing with it. Are you watching a movie, or are you using Word, or are you using, so depending on what you're doing with the unit, it will vary. So you might get a lot less than that, especially if you're doing something that requires a lot of processing. Short of that, you've got the Dolby stereo on here. You got the speakers, I don't know if you can tell. And you've got, of course, being a Lenovo product, if you've seen any of my other videos, you'll notice the little joystick in the middle. Of course, you can use the trackpad. It's one or the other. Actually, you can use both, I guess. But I know early on I was a little concerned that these things would get in the way. I'd hit it while I typed, and as you know, I write novels and things like that. So it turns out that this is not a problem whatsoever. The keyboards are always quite nice. I find them spongy. I don't know if that's the correct word. I'm sure there's a technical word for it. The other things, there appears to be a fingerprint scanner there, a reader right here on the side. If you can see that, it's all black on black. But apart from that, you've got the camera way up here, which is a 720p. So, I mean, that will do for, Zoom and Teams and so forth. Connectivity-wise, I mean, apart from the port that I showed earlier, you do have Wi-Fi 6E. And so the E will actually give you an extra frequency, which is in the 6 gigahertz. So this is an 802.11ax. If you don't have the E at the end and you just have Wi-Fi, then you would have the 2.4 gigahertz and the 5 gigahertz, which is more, I'll call it traditional, but those are the frequencies that we were using even prior with 802.11ac. It's starting to be a lot of acronyms and stuff. So this is the latest and greatest you can get for Wi-Fi. So you should get some very good speeds out of this on the Wi-Fi. Of course, you need to have an access point on the other end, or you need to have a router on the other end that will give you the Wi-Fi 6E. So keep that in mind, of course. Last but not least, you also get Bluetooth 5.2 on here. So that's my review for this laptop. If you're looking for something for Windows 11, this is most likely a very good office, and for the road warrior, that's hard to say, out there, this is a very good unit to consider. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give us comments below, as I've mentioned before, and of course you can visit us at www.ctobob.com. I'm Bob Pellerin, CTOBOB. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.